Hi, this is Becca Feeken with Amazing Paper Grace. I'm a Spellbinders licensed designer, and I am hanging out with my friends at Scrapbook.com. We're bringing you these classes about embellishing with die cuts. So there is a collection called 3D Vignettes, and in 3D Vignettes, there's the Grand Cabinet. Well, why does that make any difference to you? Well, because when you move to a 3D model, you're already moving to something that is quite apart from what's normally out there, and it's a form of embellishment all by itself. But that's not all we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to put 3D vignettes together just normally, and then I'm going to show you how to add pizzazz. But if you'll look at my table, I want to show you a couple things. So, well, right here, I have that Grand Cabinet die. I have it in two forms where it's either going to make an aperture or it's not going to make an aperture. I can also do a fully closed in back as well. So there's a couple of dies I'm going to show you. This is the Grand Cabinet. And this is also the Grand Cabinet. They're just set up in two different ways to cut. One will give you an aperture and one will not give you an aperture. Then also I have Happily Ever After, which is a die that actually has a lot of tiny little dies with it. And so the main attraction is definitely where you want to keep those. Let out the big ones, but make sure you put those little ones on there so they don't get lost. Okay, so I am going to show you how to put together the Grand Cabinet. Honestly, all alone, it's quite dazzling. You start out with 6 pieces. For the first piece and the last piece, you're going to cut off the tabs. That's because it's going to be a front and a back. So I just take scissors and I will snip that on both sides. And same with the back. Just simply line your scissors up with the straight edge and snip them off. The Grand Cabinet set has a side piece, and it's really important with this piece that the slots be closest to the bottom. So I'm going to actually connect the front and the back. And I do that by laying this piece down next to the front and just folding it over. I already have the liner off of my tape and it lined up perfectly. And then I'm going to do the same with the back. You just need to make sure it hasn't overlapped in any way. Okay, so now the back is attached to the front. So now I can go ahead and put my pieces one by one in the side. I'm going to flip these over so that I'm working from the back to the front. So you actually engage them in the slits just as they're presented. And once you have them in, just take a little tug and you pull that down. And so this is an important piece because the slits are designed to engage that if you're holding a card, the pieces won't fall out. So you'll do that on each one. The next piece I'll put in have this wedding couple and these nice swirls. It's just a great vignette, a great scene. So I'm going to go up a level and put that in and do the same thing. And always just engaging the slit and then laying it flat. You don't want to mar the paper and pulling it down. So gentle with the paper. Okay, so now I'm going to go with the next level. So all my pages are in there. And if this were connected on the other side, can you see the depth that you would just get looking all the way into that model? This is the only die that I know of where detail is all the way through from the front to the back. You can carve that detail into each layer if you want, or not each layer. And that's just a lovely option with this, but we're not done. We're going to actually add more depth and more detail before we close off this side. So I'm going to lay this back down. So I have a couple of little pieces here that are layers. That's more embellishment for this model. every time you can add a layer, it's going to add more interest, and it's really not that hard. You see 4 pieces here, and that's all we have to do is just take it up a level by putting some foam dots on the back and then adding it over top, and it just creates another little look that people aren't quite sure what they're looking at when they look inside. So this particular level says happily ever after. I'm going to just lay it down right over this happily ever after, and I've created another dimension inside the dimension. I'm going to flip this page, and this is a blank page. Now, if you have this die set, you're going to wonder, where did she get that page? Because you probably wouldn't see it. Well, I'm going to show you how it came about. This is the wedding couple, and they're nice and cut out. I could have cut them alone, or I could cut them inside this. I cut them alone, but watch what happens if I just take my scissors and get rid of the couple. It becomes a nice vignette layer that's not distracting, that adds dimension while still being able to see all the way back to the back of the model. So we're just cutting the lady. There's 2 curls that you kind of pretend are there and you complete. And then you'll go in with your scissors and just tidy some things up. I like it from the back, where I'll just go right here and just shave off a couple of things that are sticking out. So that's how I got our next piece, and that's how I also achieved this piece on the inside. It's the groom and the bride card, or the bride page. You just cut them out. So I have one that's already full of dots that I'm just going to lay down right here. And you just match it up on the layer underneath it. And then I have a bride and groom right here that are ready to go down. So I will match them up and put them right down. And then I have another blank page that's ready for this detail right here, which is empty, where the bride and groom were. And so you can see, just from adding 4 pieces, that I've now added so much dimension. So we can go ahead and now finish this up like we would normally do with the side piece. Now again, the slits are at the bottom. That's where they belong. I'm going to just push this up and make sure it's even before I fold it over. Now for the second side, you're going to take your last page and engage it in these slots. It kind of pulls up the rest of the page with it, kind of like an octopus, but if you just stick to one set at a time, you'll have this done in no time. And then all that's left is the sticky front, and you can just lay your front piece right on top of that, like so. Okay, so the first couple of times just flex, but we just added 4 layers in here that made all the difference in the world. This is such a delightful card, and it's just so easy to make. But this shows you so much how layering makes a difference. And again, it's just another way that you can embellish and create intrigue with die cuts. Thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to see more from Scrapbook.com, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a message. Happy crafting!